सहगनवितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवम् श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नम ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यस्य कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So welcome to the Srimad Bhagavatam thematic series. We are on the first canto, fourth chapter. We discussed in the first class, especially the first section where Suta congratulates and then he'll ask Shaunakrishi about Bhagavatam. Kasmin yuge pravritte sthane va kena hetuna kuta sanchodita Krishna kritavan samita muni. In which yuga and in which place and for what reason did the sage write this work? Who inspired? And then he glorifies Sukadeva Goswami, and then how he was recognized because he was, he was Unmata Mukha Jadavat Vichuran Gajah Sahave. So, how that meeting happened with him and Parikshit, and this scripture was spoken. And then, he used to wait only for a few minutes. How is that he spent 7 days? And then they speak about Sukadeva Goswami, tell his birth, activities, and his death. And they further glorify, he had a great kingdom inherited from the Pandavas. He was increasing the prestige of the Pandavas. Then why did he give up his body? And his body was the shelter. All the kings, they used to bow at his fort. And why did he give up why did he desire to give up his life? And he was a shelter for all the praja who was taking towards dharma. So then why did he decide to give up his body? And then they say that you are quite qualified to answer, and you're having being trained in other than Chandasat, the Vedic recitations. You have the qualification, so please give us the answer. So now Suta starts narrating. We saw yesterday how at the Dwapar Yuga end, Tritiya Yuge, and Tri Sandhya, the third Sandhya, Yuga Paraye, from Parashar was born Vyas. And when he was sitting in Saraswati Tate, he started contemplating because he was a Trikalagya. He saw what is the fate of the jivas of Kali Yuga, and then seeing that one Veda, he made it into four with the different sacrifices, and then which were the four Rig, Yajur, Sama, Atharvakhya, Veda, Chatvara, Udarita. And the fifth was Itihasa, Puranam, Cha, Panchama, Veda, Uchchate. Now we are going to begin from here. Further, Sutta narrates Tatrarg तत्र ऋग्वेदधर पहले सामगो जैमिनी कवि वैशंपायन एवेको निष्णातो यजुषाम उत अथर्वांगिरसाम आसीत् सुमंतरो धारुणो मुनि इतिहास पुराणानां पिता मे रोमहर्षण. So 20 and 20 21 and 22 are taken together. Prabhupada takes them separately, but there is no much purport. So, but Vishwanath Chakravarti takes it completely together. So I put it together. For the Vedas, Paila became responsible for Rig Veda. Tatra Rig Veda Dhaire Dhara Paila. Why Jamini chanted the Sam Veda? Samago Jamini Kavi. Vaishampayan became learned in the Yajurveda. Vaishampayana Eveko Nishnato Yajusham Uta. The sage Sumantu, inclined to incantations, became learned in the Atharvaveda. Atharva Angirasam Asit Sumantur Dharuno Muni. And my father Romaharshan became learned in the histories and Puranas. Itihasa Puranam Pitame Romaharshana. So Vyas had unlimited disciples and he selected his most senior, most qualified disciples. And he, that division further by Vyas was given entrusted to all these disciples of these different branches of the Vedas. Prabhupada's, very short purport is there. The different Vedas were entrusted to different learner scholars for development in various ways. That's it. And then, yeah, this is the purport for the second verse, 22nd. In the Shruti mantras, also it is stated that Angira Muni, who strictly followed the rigid principles of the Atharvedas, was the leader and the followers of the Atharvedas. So that's it. So Vishwanath Chakra Thakur's commentary is also short. Daruna means inclined to incantations and magic. So here you can see Paila was given Rig, Jamini Sham, Sama, Vaishampayan Yajura, Angira Atharva, and then Romaharshana were the Puranas in the historical records. Okay. त एते ऋषयो वेदां स्वां स्वां व्यवसन् अनेकदा शिष्य परशिष्यस्तच्छिष्यैर्वेदास्ते शाकिनो भवन्. Each of these sages, ta ete rishaya, means each of these four sages, divided up his Vedas, swam Vedam Vyavasan, into many divisions, Anekada. And these Vedas then developed branches as they were passed on. Vedas to Shakino Abhavan, to disciples, grand disciples, and great grand disciples. Te Shishya Parishishya Tat Shishyer. So, Prabhupada, this is a very interesting purport. The original source of knowledge is the Vedas. There are no branches of knowledge, either mundane or transcendental, which do not belong to the original text of the Vedas. They have simply been developed into different branches. They were originally rendered by great, respectable, and learned professors. In other words, the Vedic knowledge broken into different branches by different discipline sections have been distributed all over the world. No one therefore can claim independent knowledge beyond the Vedas. So, I would like to give here a concept which is called as, the term Veda uh, has a very broader meaning. It has a average meaning, and still, you can say a confined meaning, you can say. So the term Veda means all knowledge, including all material and spiritual knowledge. It includes like branches like Ayurveda, Dhanurveda, anything. All this knowledge is contained in the Vedas. So that's what Prabhupada is giving a broad definition of the Vedas here. Then there is a average sense we can use it. The Vedas can refer to the Shrutis, the Smritis, and the Vedanta Sutra, which is the Nyaya Prasthan. So that is the average meaning of the term Veda, and it's purely restricted to spiritual. So here we are not taking the material aspects of how to live in this world and all. Then there is a very restricted or a confined meaning of the term Veda, means there are some Brahmanas or some followers of the Vedanta school, especially the impersonalist Shankaracharya. They say that the Shrutis itself they accept as Vedas. The Smritis they don't consider the Smritis part of the Vedas. So that is a very restricted term of the use Vedas. So Prabhupada uses the term Veda here in this purport in the highest sense, in the highest context, in the broader sense he gives us. So Veda means all knowledge. So all material and spiritual knowledge. Vyavasan means divided. Now here you can see Krishna has gave the Rig Veda to Bahu. Rig is called as also Bahu Richa, and this is how he was addressed Shaunaka to Paila, Atharva to Sumantu, and Yajurva to Vaishampayan, Sama to Jamini, and then the Puranas to Romaharsha. And they gave it to in turn to their disciples. You can see all their disciples here, So this whole division is there, and that's how. Now there are various divisions. Do you have any idea how many divisions are there of the Vedas? Anyone knows? Raise your hands. Let us see. Anyone knows? And I don't recollect now the exact figure, but I know the figure, but exactly in each of which ones these belong, I am not so now familiar, but hopefully I can refer later on. But yeah, anyone knows? But how many divisions of Vedic? All the divisions together are there? Anyone knows? So there are, I think it is the Rig Veda has 9 divisions. The Yajur has uh, 21. The Sama has 1000. And then there is the Atharva. Atharva, 100. So I don't know which is 100. I don't recollect. I can find out. Either it is Yajura 100 or this one, or it is interchangeably. But I know for definitely Sam is 1000 and the Yajur is 9. 9 divisions. So in the Vedas, sorry, it's not. There is the 4 divisions. There are the 4 divisions. I'll share this. I had a slide, but I'm not able to locate it. So there is the Samhita. Then there is the Brahmana. This is not to do with the Brahmanas. Huh? Then there is the Aranyaka, which refers to when it goes to Tapasya, Vanaprastha. And then there is the Upanishads. So just like I'm giving an example, Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, that has the Eastern division, and then there is the Southern division, the Western division, and then the Northern division. This one book, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, has 4 divisions. So similarly, each of these Vedas have these 4. The Samhita is learned by the those who are in the Gurukul. The Brahmana portion deals with yajna sacrifices, Yajurvedas especially, the Grahastas, and the Aranyaka is the Vanaprasthas, and the Upanishads is meant for sannyasis. So that means there are 9 Samhitas in Rig Veda, and there are 9 Brahmanakas, and then 9 Aranyakas, and 9 Upanishads. There are 1,000 Samhitas, Samveda. There are 1,000, and then there is 1,000 Aranyakas and 1,000 Upanishads. So that means 1,130 Samhitas 1130 Brahmanakas, 1130 Aranya, like the Brahad Aranyaka Upanishads. It's Aranyaka as well as Upanishads. It's a combination of both, So then there is 1130 what? Aranyakas, and then 1130 Upanishads. So there are 1100 and sorry for my bad handwriting. So how much in total? 4,400 or 500 or something like that. I'll just clarify this, Uh, I have the slide, but I'm not able to find out. So like that, and now today in the world, only 6% are remaining, so it's almost lost. you know. So we have 1130 Upanishads total, and out of 1130, there are 108 which are principal, out of which there are 11 which are principal. What is happening? I don't know. 11 out of which there is one which is Ish Upanishads. Sorry, extremely sorry for this. I hope you got it. Okay. So if you have any questions on that, you can ask. Okay. So let's go to the next. Now, so this is the divisions he did. Now, this is a very important section which we'll go through. Compassion of Vyasdev, 24 to 25. त एव वेद दुर्मेदे धारयन्ति पुरुषे रता एवं चकार भगवान व्यास कृपणवत्सल, the Supreme Lord Vyas, Bhagavan Vyasa, merciful to the most fallen, Kripanavatsalah, thus divided the Vedas. Evam Chakar Veda, so that Yata they could understand they could be understood by the foolish. Ta eva dharyante durmeder purusher. Prabhupada. The Veda is one, and the reasons for its divisions in many parts are explained herewith. The seeds of all knowledge of the Veda is not a subject matter which can be easily understood by an ordinary man. There is a stricture that no one should try to learn the Vedas who is not a qualified Brahmana. This stricture has been wrongly interpreted in so many ways. A class of men who claim Brahminical qualifications simply by their birthright in the family of a Brahmana claim that the study of Vedas is a monopoly of the Brahmana caste only. Just like, few years back, the Nityanand Vamsha and the Advait Gosai Vamsh, they claim that, only we are qualified to give Diksha because you are coming in this Vamsha. So the Brahmanas claim monopoly that only we can read the Vedas. Another section of the people take this as an injustice to members of other caste who do not happen to take birth in the Brahmana family. But both of them are misguided. The Vedas are subject matter which had to be explained even to Brahmaji by the Supreme Lord. Therefore, the subject matter is understood by persons with exceptional qualities of goodness. So, this is the qualification. You should have exceptional qualities of goodness. Persons who are in the mode of passion and ignorance are unable to understand the subject matter of the Vedas. The ultimate goal of the Vedic knowledge is Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this Vedeshu Durlabam Adurlabam Atma Bhakto, as Brahmaji in his press is telling, even if one is learned in the Vedas and he completely studies the Vedas, he just cannot understand what is the conclusion of the Vedas. He'll get lost. Only a pure devotee understands the conclusion of the Vedas is Vedeshu Sarver Aham Evida Vedo. The ultimate goal of the Vedas is to know Krishna. This personality is very rarely understood by those who are in the modes of passion and ignorance. In the Satyuga, everyone was situated in the mode of goodness. Gradually, the modes of goodness declined during Treta and Dwaparigas, and the general mass of people became corrupt. In the present age of the mode, in the present age, the mode of goodness is almost nil, as Vyas also saw in his vision, ni sattva. And so far, the general mass of people, the kind-hearted, powerful sage Srila they divided the Vedas into various ways so that they may be practically followed by less intelligent persons in the modes of passion and ignorance. Durmedar. It is explained in the next shloka as follows. So, who are these? It's explained. So, there is no commentary by Vishwanath Thakur. So, let's take this verse 25, his compassion. Stri Shudra Dvija Bandhunam Traina Shruti Gochara Karma Sheyamsi Mudanam Sheya Evam Bhavetiha Iti Bharatam Akyanam Kripaya Muninam Kritam. The women, Shudras and the Dvijabandhus, Sri Sudra Dvijabandhunam, are not qualified to hear the Vedas. Trai na Shruti Gochara. Trai means these three women, Shudras and Dvijabandhus. Thinking what could be best for the foolish. Mudanam Shraya Eva Bhavet Iha. In terms of the best sadhana, karma shreyasi. Vyasa Munina by the mercy wrote Kripaya Kritam the Mahabharat. Bharatam Akhyana. Prabhupada's purport is also very interesting. Now, Prabhupada focuses in his purport firstly about the definition of what is a Dvija Bandhu. The friends, Bandhu means friends. Dvija Bandhu. Dvija means the Brahmanas, Bandhu means the friend. The friends of the twice born families are those who are born in the families of Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas. All three are included, or the spiritually cultured families, but who themselves are not equal to their forefathers. They are born in these Brahmana, Kshatriya, and Vaishya families, but they are not, qualified as their forefathers. Such descendants are not recognized as such for want of purificatory achievements. The purificatory activities begin even before the birth of the child, and the seed giving reformatory process is called Garbhadan Samskar. One who has not undergone such Garbhadan Samskar or spiritual family planning is not accepted as being an actual twice born family. The Garbhadan Samskar is followed by other purificatory processes, out of which the sacred ceremony is one. So the sacred ceremony is given to the Brahmana, Kshatriyas, and the Vaishyas. Then they become twice born, but they are not qualified because they are not equal to their forefathers. That's the reason. This is performed at the time of spiritual initiation. After this particular samskar, one is rightly called twice born. So after this samskar of the Upnainam, he is actually called twice born. Janma jayate shudra samskar bhavet dvija. One birth is calculated during the seed giving samskar, and the second birth is calculated at the time of spiritual initiation. So, this spiritual initiation, please remember, it is not our Harinam Diksha, it is the Upanayanam samskar, and none of us had it, I think. One who is able to undergo such important samskar can be called a bona fide twice born. If the father and mother do not undertake the process of spiritual family planning, and simply beget children out of passion only, their children are called Dvijabandhus. So Prabhupada is making that clear, very clearly, who are these Dvijabandhus. These Dvijabandhus are certainly not as intelligent as the children of the regular twice born families. The Dvijabandhus are classified with the Shudras and the woman class, who are by nature less intelligent. The Shudras in the woman class do not have to undergo any samskar except the ceremony of marriage. The less intelligent class of men, namely women, Shudras, and unqualified sons of the higher caste, are devoid of necessary qualifications to understand the purpose of the transcendental Vedas. So, out of compassion, because they cannot understand the Vedas, Vyasa wrote the Mahabharata. For them, the Mahabharata was prepared. The purpose of the Mahabharata is to administer the purpose of the Vedas, and therefore within this Mahabharata, the summary Veda of Bhagavad Gita is placed. So the essence of the Mahabharata is the Bhagavad Gita. So one who can understand Bhagavad Gita itself, we see it's a highly philosophical text. And I know for sure many devotees, 10 years, 15 years in the moment, they just cannot get a complete grip over the Gita. It's a highly philosophical text. The less intelligent are more interested in stories than in philosophy, and therefore the philosophy of the Vedas in the form of Bhagavad Gita is spoken by the Lord Sri Krishna. Vyasdeva and Lord Krishna are both on the transcendental plane, and therefore they corroborated in doing good to the fallen souls of this age. The Bhagavad Gita is the essence of all Vedic knowledge. Sarvo Upanishado Gao Dogda Gopal Nandana. It is the first book of spiritual values, as the Upanishads are. The Vedanta philosophy is a subject matter for study by the spiritual graduates. So the Vedanta philosophy is, this is graduation, Gita. This is post graduation. Only the postgraduate spiritual student can enter into the spiritual or devotional service of the Lord. It is a great science, and therefore, and the great professor is the Lord Himself in the form of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And persons who are empowered by Him can initiate others in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. So, very interesting purport. Huh? The Dvijabandhus do not belong to the three upper class. Prabhupada gave a very elaborate explanation. Karma Shreyasi means in the best sadhana. So they are not qualified to understand what is the best sadhana. Okay, now after doing this, all this, Vyasdev experiences dissatisfaction. So this is a very, very interesting section. Let's go into this. एवं प्रवृतस्य सदा भूतानां शयसि द्विजा सर्वात्मने सर्वात्मकेनापि यदा नातुष्टयत् हृदयं तत नाति प्रसादत् हृदय सरस्वत्यास्तटे शुचो वितर्कयन् विविक्तस्त इदं चोवाच धर्मवेत्. O Brahmanas, Dvija, Sut Goswami is addressing the sages there. Though he had engaged himself in this way, evim pravrittasya sada, for the welfare of all beings, bhutanam shreyasi, his heart was not satisfied with all of that. Sarv atma kenapi yada na tushtayat hridayam tata. Being not completely satisfied in heart, na ati prasadat hridaya, sitting in a solitary spot on the bank of the Saraswati river, Sucho Saraswatyasya tate viviktasta, the knower of Dharma, Dharmavid, began to contemplate Vitarkan. He then spoke as follows: Idam cha vacha. So he spoke to himself. He was deliberating and contemplating, and he spoke to himself. Prabhupada. Sri Vyasdev was not satisfied within himself, although he had prepared literatures of Vedic value for the all-round welfare of the general mass of people. It was expected that he would be satisfied by all such activities, but ultimately he was not satisfied. Now, for the next purport, proper 27, the sage began to search out the cause of not being satisfied at heart. Na atai prasadat hridaya. Vitarkan. Sitting in that secluded, he started deliberating. Now, proper statement you should hear. Perfection is never attained until one is satisfied at heart. So, here you need to mark, I don't know how to detach this. Yeah. Still, what I should do? Anyone knows how to come from the pen, out from the pen? No, still it is showing the pen only. I have to learn all this. I'm very, very bad in this. Okay, anyway, I wanted to mark this. Yeah, I'm able to mark. So, perfection is never attained until one is satisfied at heart. So, this is a very important statement. The satisfaction of heart is to be searched out beyond matter. So, this also should be marked. Okay. Now, Vishwanath Chakravarti for both the purports, he says, Sarvatmakena means the same as Sarvatmana by the whole. Na ati prasidat hridaya means he whose heart was not completely pleased. Now, heart here means the soul. Satisfaction, yenatma suprasi, can happen. There is a satisfaction at the body level when you fill your belly. Your heart is also a little pleased, but it doesn't last for long. Then there is a satisfaction at the level of the mind. What you like, you get, what you don't like, you avoid. So there is a mental peace. But the real peace is Krishna Bhakti Nishkam Ateva Shant. When we have no other desire except the desire to please the Lord. So he tried to please the Lord by compiling all this, but still he did not feel satisfaction. Now, this was actually inspired by the Lord of this dissatisfaction. Vishnu Chakrathakur and Prabhupada will bring it up. Because of dissatisfaction in his heart, he began to conjuncture, vitarkyan. He spoke to himself internally. I told you, he started speaking to him internally. So, what he speaks, let us see. Text 28. धृतव्रतेन हि मया छन्दांसि गुरवो आज्ञया मानिता निर्वलिकेन गृहीतां चानुशासनम्. I have respected Manita, the Vedas. One has to respect, the Vedas by uh, offering praises, glorification, and not criticizing the Vedas. Then it will become an offense. So, one should respect the scriptures. The gurus and fire, Chandamsi Guru Agneya, with sincerity, Nirvalikena, with a pure heart, and strict vows and observe the rules. Grihitam cha anushasanam. Then further he contemplates. भारतव्यापदेशेन हि आम्नायार्थश्च प्रदर्शित दर्शयते यत्र धर्मादि स्त्रीशूद्रादिभिरप्युत तथामि तथापि बत मे धैर्यो हि आत्मचैवात्मन विभो असम्पन्नम इवा भाति ब्रह्मवचर्स्य असत्तम. Though the Mahabharata, Bharata Vyapadeshena, in which dharma, artha, kama, and moksha, yatra dharmadi, for the women, Shudras, what to speak of the higher caste, Sri, Shudra, Bir, Apyuta, is seen, Drishyate. I have clearly shown the meaning of the Vedas, Amnaya Arthasha Cha Pradarshita. So, what is the Mahabharata? The Mahabharata is actually explanation of the Vedas. Amnaya refers to the Vedas, Artha, Pradarshita. But still, Tatapi, my soul situated in the body, may Dayo hi Atma, though powerful with austerity and knowledge by nature, Chaivatma Vibho appears incomplete and inferior. Asampanna, asatama iva abhati, even though endowed with power arising from the study of Vedas. Brahmya Vacharsya. Prabhupada's commentary. Very interesting commentary. No one can understand the import of the Vedas without having undergone a strict disciplinary vow and disciplinic succession. So, first is one has to follow the vows. Prabhupada mentions in the Upadeshamrita, as long as one doesn't follow strictly the rules and regulations of the bhakti, sadhana, one cannot make advancement, he says. So, and one has to be in the discipline succession. The Vedas, spiritual masters, and sacrificial fire must be worshipped by the desiring candidate. All these intricacies of Vedic knowledge are systematically presented in the Mahabharata for the understanding of the women class, the labor class, and the unqualified members of the Brahmana, Kshatriya, or Vaishya families. In this age, the Mahabharata is more essential than the original Vedas. Undoubtedly, Sri Vyasdev was complete in all the details of Vedic knowledge. This is for the text 30 purport. Purification of the living being submerged in matter is made possible by the prescribed activities in the Vedas. But the ultimate achievement is different. Unless it is attained, the living being, even though fully equipped, cannot be situated in the transcendental normal stage. Shri Vyasadeva appeared to have lost the clue and therefore felt dissatisfaction. So Prabhupada is bringing out that point that by practicing Karma Yoga or Jnana Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga, you will not be satisfied. Only by Bhakti Yoga, the highest, fullest potential of the soul to love the Supreme Soul is manifested in Bhakti Yoga. So to give that highest, Vyasdev is feeling now the dissatisfaction. Okay, now let's go to Vishnu Thakur's commentary on both these verses. My soul situated in the body, Daya, though complete with austerity and knowledge, Vibhu, by nature, Atmana, feels incomplete, asambandha, and not only incomplete, but also inferior, asattama, even though endowed with power arising from excellent results derived by hearing and studying the Vedas. Another version of the text is Ushatama, most pleased with. In either case, as part of the compound, the suffix V can be added with the meaning possessing. Okay, this is to do with Sanskrit. Now, he in this verse, he's contemplating, and then maybe it is because of this is the reason. So, this is the reason he comes out. Kim va bhagavata dharma na prayena niropitaah priyah paramahamsanam ta Paramhamsanam ta eva hi achyuta priya. Perhaps, Kimva, the path of bhakti, Bhagavata dharma, pleasing to the most elevated devotees, Paramhamsanam priya. So here, Paramhamsa, strictly this term refers to devotees, although sometimes for Gyanis it is used, has not been sufficiently described. Na prayena nirupita. And the elevated devotees alone are dear to the Lord. Ta eva hi achyuta priya. So the premi bhaktas are very dear to the Lord. The sadhana bhaktas are also dear, but more dear are the premi bhaktas, like that. The dissatisfaction which was being felt by Shilvyas is expressed herein in his own words. So maybe I have not exclusively dedicated a scripture glorifying only bhakti and Shuddha bhakti, which is dear to the Paramhamsas, and the Paramhamsas are very, very dear to the Lord. This was felt for the normal condition of the living being in the devotional service of the Lord. Unless one is fixed in the normal condition of service, neither the Lord nor the living being can become fully satisfied. Jivera Swarupoy, Krishnera Nityadas. This defect was felt by him when Narad Muni, his spiritual master, reached him. So exactly when he felt this, immediately what happens? Narad Muni arrives. It is described as follows. So what is followed is that his spiritual master arrives, and you can see in this picture here that moment he feels that this is the reason Narad Muni is seen coming in his aerial. He's a spaceman. So he arrives there. So this is a very important principle which we need to know, that moment the disciple is very, very sincere and he is deeply deliberating why I'm not still satisfied with my practices, and he wants to go deeper in bhakti. The moment this kind of a dissatisfaction is experienced in the disciple, uh, and just like Narad Muni immediately arrived, Krishna will send the spiritual master in the disciple's life. Absolutely no doubt about this. We have to become a little alert and aware and detect it and recognize it. So this is a very, very important principle which we should know. Okay, I have to share the screen. Yeah. So I'm reading the purport now for this this dissatisfaction with Prabhupada had spoken. Now Vishnu Thakur is a very interesting purport. Please hear. Vyas begins to intuit the reason for his dissatisfaction. So intuition is actually, the soul speaking when it is in touch with the Paramatma. Maybe, uh, it's my Lord is giving me an indication that maybe it is because of I have not glorified exclusively Bhakti Yoga. Prayana means abundantly. The word stay refers to the Paramamsas. It is not possible to explain the word Bhagavad Dharma as Gyan. It has to be Bhakti only. It is Bhakti only, for it is later said. It is only Bhakti. What? Tadva visargo janataga viplavo yasmin pratishlokamabatyavattapi namani anantasya yasho ankitani yat shunvanti gayanti grinanti sadhava. So the sadhus, they take pleasure in hearing, chanting the glories of the Lord. So definitely refers to bhakti. The use of the word sadvag visargo, in which, though perfectly not perfectly composed, yasmin pratesh lokam abhadyavatapi, There are the names of the Lord, Anantasya Namani, and description of his glories, Yasho Ankitaniyat, which devotees hear, sing, and again receive. Shunvanti Gayanti Grananti Sadhava, destroy the sins of all people. Janataga Viplavo. And thus the word Paramhamsa Nam refers only to devotees, not to the Jnanis. Bhagavatam should always be connected with the devotees who are called Paramahamsas. Paramhamsas. It should never be taken as a property of the Jnanis. भवतानुदीतप्रायं यशो भागवतमलं येन एवासो न तुष्यते मन्ये तद्दर्शनं किलं. So what he has detected in this verse, na, किं वा भागवत धर्म न प्रायेण निरूपित प्रिय परमहंसानां त eva hi achyut priya. So Narad will answer in the next chapter, this is 158, that yes, what you have detected, na, even I am able to detect it is true. So sometimes we, when we study Bhagavatam and we get certain realizations, and these realizations dawn in us, and we feel that, this is coming from a different substratum, and we have to reflect on that realizations by deeply meditating, and ultimately it has to be confirmed from, Guru or sadhus, or you have to see that whether that realization is there in the Bhagavatam, Bhaktivedanta purports, or any other books. So then, it is confirmed. So Vyas Institute, maybe it is because I've not glorified exclusively Bhakti, the glories of the Lord, which is dear to Paramahamsas. And this is also the conclusion of his spiritual master. Now, as I mentioned, the last part, Narad visits. Moment, I told you this is a very important principle devotees have to understand, that the moment we feel dissatisfaction deeply in our heart and we deeply go into contemplation and prayers, the Lord is situated in the heart, and he will send, you know, the spiritual master. The spiritual master can be the sannyasi, or any devotee also can come and answer you, or any person on the street also can act as a Chaitaguru and speak something. Like Prabhupada was printer, he said, instead of printing these Back to Godhead magazine, why don't they print books? They can permanently have it. Prabhupada felt that my spiritual master is speaking through him. So like that, immediately, this is a very important principle we should remember. Tassevam kilamatmanam manyamanasya khidyata krishnasya narodobhya abhyagat ashramam prag udharitam. As Vyasa was lamenting, evam khidyate. So this lamentation is a spiritual lamentation, although it looks material, because that is going to lead to higher level of spiritual realization. Or Arjuna Vishad Yoga. Considering himself most vile, Khilam Atmana Manyamanasya, Narada approached the hermitage. Narada Krishnasya Abhyagad Ashramam, which was previously described. Prag Udharitam. It was previously described by Sut only. Prabhupada. The vacuum felt by Vyasadeva was not due to his lack of knowledge. Bhagavad Dharma is purely devotional service to the Lord, to which the monaists have no access. The monaists are not counted among the Paramhamsas, the most perfect of the renounced of Lord. Vishnu Chakravarti has proved this. Srimad Bhagavatam is full of narration of the transcendental activities of the personality of Godhead. Although Vyas was an empowered divinity, he still felt dissatisfaction because in none of his works there was transcendental activities of the Lord properly explained. The inspiration was infused by Sri Krishna directly in the heart of Vyas, and thus he felt the vacuum as explained above. So this dissatisfaction was actually infused by Krishna, so that ultimately he can, Bhagavatam can manifest. It is definitely expressed herewith that without the transcendental loving service of the Lord, everything is void. But in the transcendental service of the Lord, everything is tangible without any separate attempt at fruitive activity, work, or empirical philosophical speculation. Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur. Kilam means while. Vyas hermitage was on bank of the Saraswati as previously described. Prague, Udharitam. Lacking complete knowledge and being dissatisfied are impossible for Vyas since he's an avatar of the Lord. So how can an avatar of the Lord feel dissatisfaction? And he has to have knowledge. There's no lack of knowledge or dissatisfaction. Therefore, it should be understood that these conditions were strongly produced by Krishna himself in order to manifest the Bhagavatam, the crest jewel of all scriptures, which is non-different from him. So Prabhupada also mentioned this. Similarly, even Balram's knowledge became covered by Krishna for the beauty of pastimes in bewildering Brahma. So in the Brahma Vibhala Lila, even Balram did not know that all these uh, calves and cowherd boys are actually Krishna. He did not know that. So this was again infused by Yogamaya. This was done so that Balram will not know it. And the reason why Balram, Krishna, it is not because of Mahamaya, Balram's knowledge was covered, because Krishna took the forms of all the calf and the cowherd boys. And if Balram knew that, it is Krishna's form, and Balram had a very intimate friendship with Sridhama, and he would feel separation from Sridhama. So that sentiment, he should not get affected. So that's why Krishna by Yogamaya arranged that even Balram did not know. So this is like that. So this Vyasa's dissatisfaction is completely under the Yogamaya. Just like Arjuna falling in illusion also, it is Yogamaya. The Bhagavatam became manifest by the instructions of Narad, which will begin from the next chapter. However, it should be understood that 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 even the chief goal of human endeavor, liberation, is achieved only by bhakti and not by any other method. And now he is quoting this word. Yat karma birya tapasa jnana vairagayascha yogena dhana dharmena shayobir itare api sarvam mat mat api. Actually, it should be till api. That's what something is wrong. I felt. Oh, I am not able to switch back to my mouse because of this. What is to be done? If I detach it, also still it's not going. Yes, Shubhik Shapir, you know what to do about this? Yes, Haribol.
So if you can just go to home and then this try like this. Oh, these options are also not activated, Prabhu. The one above the bold and italics and underline, BIU dollar and all this. Yeah, in
Where?
this just beside that right side. Layout get next. No, no, right side within home. Yeah, yeah. These all are also not activated. B I next to that, Prabhu. B is there. No, B I. Yeah, these all are not
Yeah, that's what why it is not activated.
because ideally this should be coming up here.
Yeah, it's
Should have.
still picking the pen. Okay, doesn't matter. We will look into it tomorrow. So, इतरेरपि सर्वं मद्भक्तियोगेन मद्भक्तो लभते अंजसा स्वर्गापवर्गं मद्धाम कदाचित् यदि वाञ्छति. Everything that can be achieved by karma, yat karma bir, penance, tapasa, jnana, vairagya, yoga, dana, dharma, and shreyo bir itarer is easily achieved by my devotee. Mad bhakto abhit labhate anjasa through bhakti. So by bhakti, everything can be attained. So that's why he's quoting. If somehow or other my devotee desires kadachit yadi vanchati swarga, liberation or residence in my abode, swarga apavargam madhamam, he easily achieves such benedictions. Sarvam anjasa labhati. So this is the glory of pure devotion. Then he gives another verse. Kim va yogena sankena nyas swadhyaya kim kim va shreyo biranyash cha na yatratma pradohari. What is the use of yoga, sankhya, sannyas, study and study of the Vedas and other auspicious acts in which the Lord does not give realization of himself? There is also verses many. तपस्विनो दानपराय यशस्विनो मनस्विनो मन्त्रविदः सुमङ्गला क्षेमं न विन्दन्ति विनाय दर्पणं तस्मै सुभद्रा श्रवसे namo namah. Sukdev Goswami's prayers. If you do tapasya, But without any element of bhakti, that tapasya will not give you any fruit. So the bhakti has to be there. So that's what two verses is quoted. There are many verses. Thus, the unique meaning of all the scriptures become visible to all people by bhakti. Okay, this is the last verse. Tam abhigyaya sahasa pratyautyagatam muni pujayamasa vidivan naradam surapujitam. Understanding that tam abhigyaya, Narada worshipped by the devtas. Naradam surapujitam. Narada is worshipped even by the devtas. He is Devarishi Narada. He is worshipped even by the devtas. Had suddenly arrived. Sahasa agatam. Vyas worshipped him. Muni pratya uttaya pujayam asa, as if he were Brahma. Vidivat. Prabhupada. Vidhi means Brahma, the first created being. He is the original student as well as the professor of the Vedas. He learned it from Sri Krishna and taught Narad first. So Narad is the second Acharya in the line of spiritual discipline succession. He is a representative of Brahma, and therefore he is respectedly exactly like Father, the father of all Vidhis, regulations. Similarly, all other successive disciples in the chain are also equally respected as representatives of the original spiritual master. So this is how we, respect the spiritual master who is coming in the Guru Shish Parampara. Vidhivat. So that ends the commentary of Prabhupada. Vishwanath Chakra Thakur, Vidhivat means like Brahma. What means like according to dictionary? What is compounded with Vidhi? So that's it. So Narada arrives. So that's where this chapter ends. Okay. Any questions you have? The most important takeaway points is one is we should practice bhakti to go deeper, deeper, so that ultimately we come to the point of attaining Shuddha Bhakti. Till then, there will be dissatisfaction. And one should, like Vyas, deliberate Shravanam after hearing the scriptures, do Mananam and go deep into meditation. And why still Yenatma Suprasiddhi is not happening? Because we are not practicing maybe Shuddha Bhakti. So, like that, one should go deeper, deeper. And just like he contemplated Vitarkena, and understood that maybe it is intuited that I have not exclusively glorified pure devotional service or uh, bhakti, the pastimes of the Lord. And then immediately when he felt this, killer, this lamentation in the heart, the spiritual master arrived. So immediately when we feel like that, Krishna is in the heart, and Krishna can sense it. And then he will arrange. But we have to sense and be receptive and so this is a very important principle. Moment this disciple feels dissatisfaction in the heart, and he deeply sincerely goes probes into it, and tries to find, and because Prabhupada says satisfaction cannot be attained, uh, what is a very important statement Prabhupada makes, which is very, very important, perfection can never be attained as long as something he says. One second, let me see. Uh, One of the purports, yeah. The satisfaction of the heart has to be reached out beyond matter. Perfection is never attained until one is satisfied at heart. So this is in purport to 27. So one should always be looking for that highest perfection. These statements of Prabhupada are very, very profound. Yeah, I marked it. Perfection is never attained until one is satisfied at heart. This satisfaction of heart has to be searched out beyond matter. So one is searching, one needs spiritual master. Mhm. So the spiritual master will immediately arrive, and we saw Narad arrives here. So that ends this chapter. So we will begin with the fifth chapter tomorrow. So any questions anyone has up till now, what we have discussed? One hand has been raised. Chakra Rama Prabhuji. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Dandavad Pranam to everyone. Prabhuji, I become confused with the meaning of spiritual initiation.
Spiritual initiation, Prabhupada is speaking there. Very good, you pointed out. The spiritual initiation is the Harinam Diksha. Because in today's world, no samskars are there based on Varnashram. Nobody undergoes the Upanayinam samskar. Practically everyone is bereft of any samskar. The only samskar they can start getting is when they come in touch with the bona fide organization which is coming in the Guru Shish Parampara, and then they take the Diksha in the form of Harinam Diksha. Mhm. So that Prabhupada is speaking about that.
I have taken Diksha. That doesn't mean I don't have a Harinam Diksha yet.
You have taken Diksha, which Diksha you mean?
Uh, Gopal Krishna Maharaj.
Yeah, this is your Harinam Diksha. So this is a spiritual initiation, what Prabhupada is speaking.
It is done, na?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I got confused with this.
Yeah, yeah. We are still not very clear about this whole science. Prabhupada is speaking about, becoming twice born. That is to learn the Vedas. That's why children are given all these samskaras. There is the Garbhadan, there is the, Nama, and then there is the Karna Bheda, then there is Annaprashana, then there is Mundana, and then at last there is the Upanainam. And then, then he starts studying the Vedas. Janmana Jayate Shudra, Samskar Bhave Dvija, uh, Ved Patati, I don't know, Samskara Dvija. When he knows the Vedas, he's a Vipra, and Brahma Janati iti Brahmana. When he knows the absolute truth, he's a Brahmana. So, like that, that was a traditional system. Now, no more it cannot be followed. So, now we directly, take up this process of chanting Hare Krishna and take the Harinam Diksha. Okay. I hope it
Hare
is clear.
Krishna Pranam.
Yeah.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Any other questions anyone else has? Any other clarifications? Okay. So, we'll stop here. ग्रंथ राज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, हरे कृष्णा।